Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. In this video, how to make flash chilled iced tea. In this video, we're going to be tasting ruby black tea, and then I'm going to show you how to make a flash chilled iced tea. This video is going to go under the tea masterclasses and the drinking with friends playlists. If at any point in time you enjoy this video, then please give the video the thumbs up. The more thumbs in the air, the more tea videos are going to come your way. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, then go click that button. Introducing Tracie. Hi Tracie.
Hello.
Tracie and I have been friends for how many years?
Too
many years.
Too long to remember.
So Tracie and I met when we were both working in the music industry. So we were both DJs, producers, working hard on the club scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Working hard, enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. The difficult life. Many moons ago, though. Now, right?
Yeah.
So yes, we both come from a background in sound and music, and Tracie has now moved, taken that interest and moved into the theories of tamado, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But before that, tea. Now Tracie, because we've drunk a lot of tea together, you are a bit of a tea head, aren't you?
I'm definitely a tea head. It's official.
Yeah.
I love tea and I love learning about new teas and tasting teas. So I'm definitely a tea head.
And she's being a bit modest because she's actually pretty knowledgeable in tea. She's the kind of friend that comes and brings you Yiwu aged pu'er tea as presents. So, you know, she knows her stuff. So, what kind of tea do you normally drink? What's your kind of go-to drinks?
Oolongs. I
Okay.
like oolongs, and then followed by pu'ers.
Okay, so
Yeah.
oolongs and pu'ers,
Yeah.
classic tea head material. Now then, what I want to do today, because I figured you were going to say that, is I want to introduce you to a black tea.
Ah.
Because black tea is one of those tea types that the kind of tea connoisseurs and the lovers of tea tend to kind of, in a way, shun sometimes. Because it's such a standard tea, right? So it's black tea, you know?
Yeah.
And you want to kind of go for the bit more kind of unusual, like the oolongs and the pu'ers.
Yeah.
And, you know, people go in for the greens because of the beautiful spring pick greens and the
Yeah.
health benefits. And black tea kind of gets... I don't know how you feel. Do you drink a lot of black tea?
No, I don't.
Right, so I assumed that this would be the case.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to taste ruby black. Let me just bring this a bit closer so you can see. This is ruby black. This is a Taiwanese black tea. So we're going to scope this tea. So scope stands for season, cultivar, origin, picking, processing and elevation. And it's just a simple way for people to kind of figure out what questions to ask when they're buying tea. So season is a spring pick tea. The cultivar of this is a ruby tea. Have you ever had a ruby tea before?
No.
Okay, so this is a black tea that was created by the Taiwanese tea authorities. So they're constantly looking at natural hybrids and then figuring out, you know, how they can kind of create new varieties and put them onto the market. And this has a really interesting flavor profile, which we won't talk about now, but it's a ruby cultivar. It's also called cultivar number 18, so they give them numbers.
Right.
And is commonly used as a black tea. O stands for origin. This is from Taiwan. This is from Sun Moon Lake area in Nantou County. P, picking and processing. Well, this is classic black tea. You can see that the leaves are, you know, medium to small size. So we're using the young leaves, the young leaves, not third leaves. And it's processed as a black tea. Now, some people call this an oolong tea, which is a bit weird.
Ah.
There's a kind of marketing trick that a few people are doing. The marketeers are out, as usual. So they're desperate to try and not call it a black tea, so they're calling it a brandy oolong.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Well, you know, that may sell a few more teas, I don't know. But it is a black tea. It's processed as a black tea, so it's a bit of a marketing spin calling it a brandy oolong. And then finally, elevation. This is about 1,000 meter high, so pretty high altitude, not super high. In
Right.
Taiwan, they go up to 2,000 meters, but still high altitude, good tea. And we're going to be brewing in a nice little Yixing pot here. I'm going to be using about 90 to 95 degree water, just because a lot of people brew black tea with boiling water, and I just don't think that you get the best out of black tea if you do that for a lot of black teas. So you know how pu'ers you brew really hot and
Yeah.
oolongs you brew really hot.
Yeah.
But that's because they're made a lot with the third leaves and the fourth leaves. These are really young leaves. And because they're young leaves, they're really rich in catechins and antioxidants, which can go bitter very easily. And so therefore, I advise you just take the temperature down a little bit. So we're going to give it a quick rinse.
So the ideal temperature for this one?
90 to 95 degrees, I would
90
say,
to
is a
95,
good
okay.
is a good temperature. Just not boiling, because otherwise you risk just bringing out too much bitterness, really. And you
Wow.
can see how already it's quite
Yeah,
dark, right?
Absolutely, and I can already smell
Okay,
it.
so why don't you have a smell of the lid of that and see what you think it smells like.
Ooh.
Does that smell like any black tea you've ever smelled before?
No, it smells very rich. It smells sweet.
Mm.
It kind of smells a little bit caramelly as
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
which I wasn't expecting. It's like almost like a golden butteriness to it as well.
You smell. Do you pick up any spices? So,
Oh yeah, just a little bit just then, but I hadn't before.
so let's taste it and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So really flash brewing here. I'm literally not going to wait too long. In fact, that's done. So you can get lots of infusions out of here. So we'll brew it relatively light. Don't want it to be too heavy. This is a nice Yixing clay pot. 150 ml. We put about 6 grams of tea in here, so a fair amount of tea, so you get the richness.
It was amazing how much water comes out of those little pots.
I know, it is, isn't it?
Like a little bit of magic going on there.
Okay, here you go.
Ooh, thank you.
Black tea. First black tea in a while, I guess, for you.
Yeah. Nice colour.
So the colour, yeah, is a nice dark ambrosial colour. Thoughts?
Ooh.
Make sure you breathe out through your nose so you're getting all the aroma compounds coming through. So it's relatively soft, right? It's
Yeah.
not the problem that people have is they associate black teas with that very astringent tea dust. Yeah, the tea bag teas that have that very dry finish, and it can be a little bit bitter, and that's
Yeah.
why they combine it with milk. But when you brew it properly at the right temperature, flash brewing, you get the texture, so it's still quite thick, but it's not drying, it's not excessively drying.
No, there's a deep, rich texture to it. That's what I get, and I get the sides of my mouth are going a little.
So in terms of flavors,
It feels
some
like
of
it's quite energizing as well. Yeah.
the flavor profiles that are very commonly talked about with Ruby, and something that I pick up, are things which are a little bit unusual to the black tea kind of world, which is things like cinnamon, things like menthol or eucalyptus. So you have now another taste and see if you can pick up that slightly cooling, you know how menthol and eucalyptus has that cooling
Ah, yeah.
sensation.
I feel that more on the tongue, almost like going down the tongue when you drink it. Oh, like an aftertaste as well.
Yeah, the aftertaste for me is got quite a lot of this. I don't know if it's menthol or eucalyptus, but there's some
Yes.
Yeah. You know that liniment, you know when you have muscle pain, that liniment, that mentholy eucalyptus.
It's more eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus, yeah.
Eucalyptus, yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a black tea to
Absolutely.
have that eucalyptus taste to it. It's also a little bit of cinnamon. It's quite woody. It's got some of the woody notes. It's also, as you said, a little bit caramelly, malty.
Yeah.
It's got the more classic black tea profiles as well. We'll brew one more. I'll just turn the kettle on again.
I can taste it more and more now, the eucalyptus. It's kind of like developing, it's kind of maturing with each sip.
Well, don't forget that every time you're drinking tea, what's happening is it's building up layers,
Yeah.
right? So the first time it's a thin layer of minerals are developing on your tongue. And if
Yeah.
you drink again and again a few sips, it starts to coat your mouth, so you get an enhanced taste. So we'll brew one more of this.
And because of the eucalyptus element as well, it feels like there's this kind of energy. Like you could have this in the morning
Yeah.
before you're starting your day.
Yeah, I would not put it in the excessively kind of warming, comforting black tea territory. It's much more of kind of cooling, energizing,
Yeah.
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 Refreshing.
Yes.
It's got a refreshing quality about it too.
Absolutely.
Take a smell of the lid if you want.
So that was also flash brew.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
flash. You can infuse this many times.
Wow, it's really takes you somewhere. The smell of tea is really.
It's sometimes hard to kind of join the dots, and
Yeah.
you smell something and it brings memory and it brings thoughts, but you can't like equate it to what it actually is. It's
Yeah.
a difficult thing, and especially when you kind of put on the spot with a camera in front of you. So when we do tastings, I can literally spend 2 hours just trying to think through what it is, and when you get it, it's like a hallelujah moment. It's a really
Yeah.
nice thing.
Absolutely.
So it's got a lovely
Yum.
spice to it. It's a really interesting black tea, and I encourage everybody out there that's into their teas to try to rediscover black tea, because it is an amazing tea type that is continuously overlooked by many people. I know there are lots of tea heads that love their black tea, but by many people it is overlooked because how common it is and the associations that they have with it. So now we're going to try to brew an iced tea. And the key with iced tea is you don't want to brew a tea and then put it in the fridge.
Right.
Because if you do that, the tea is constantly oxidizing, so it's constantly changing. And so you're losing the essence of the tea if you leave it. And you might even start to see that it goes cloudy, right, and starts to become a kind of grey colour. It loses its vibrancy. So what you want to try to do is flash chill the tea, okay, which means brewing it and then immediately shaking it over ice. Okay. And the way that we do that, so I've got a Gai 1 here, and this has 5 grams. It's 150 ml Gai 1. This is 5 grams. And I'm going to be brewing this tea, but I'm going to be brewing it stronger than I normally would, because I'm going to be diluting it with ice, right?
Okay.
And so the key here is that you want it to be, you don't want to over dilute it. You don't want it to be too weak. So you have to brew it strong, but then if you brew it too strong, it might become bitter,
Yeah.
right? So
Of
there's this
course.
kind of, what do you do?
The balance.
So the key really is, in my opinion, is to, again, reduce the temperature of the water.
Right.
That means that you can brew for longer. You can extract more flavour, but it isn't going to extract as much of the bitterness,
Right.
because the bitterness tends to come out when the water's hotter.
Okay.
So
That
that
makes
way
sense.
you can brew a more flavourful, stronger, concentrated tea, but then you can dilute it with water, and it's not going to dilute it with ice, and it's not going to become too weak. So I'm going to put this in here, and we're going to brew this for a few minutes. And actually, I might turn a timer on, because I'm terrible when it gets to something like a few minutes. I'll just forget, and then I
The
will.
tea timer.
Okay, so we'll do that. Oh no, I've got a horrible sound. But let's see if I can turn that
It's
down.
like being in a game show.
So why don't we talk about you and Tamado?
Yeah.
So I did a tea ceremony, tea session at
That's
one
right.
of your events.
Yes.
What did you call it? A sound harmonization
Sound
event.
harmonization. Yeah.
Why don't you tell people about Tamado a little bit?
Yeah. Well, basically, it's a combination of sound, movement, and color, and essentially, it's a little bit like acupuncture, but instead of using needles, one uses sound on the body. So it's something that can be done in a one-to-one treatment with somebody, or you can do group sessions as well. it's there's many different layers to the work, and where we did a tea ceremony together was a sound harmonisation. So everybody came into a space and we worked with sound on and off the body as well. So it's a really nice way of working with people in a non-intrusive way.
And it's not just sound frequencies that you use, you also use colour frequencies as well.
That's right, colour, yeah.
So it's colour and sound, and it's taking aspects of acupuncture, of
That's
which
right.
I'm involved in as well as a separate part of what I do.
Yes.
So it involves acupuncture, but it also involves a lot of work by Fabian. Is that right?
Fabian Maman, yes, he's my teacher, and he started the academy about 30 years ago now. So all the techniques in Tamado are based on his teachings and research. So he basically worked with various masters over the years. Sensei Nakazano, who was his Japanese master, who taught him about Qigong. So he teaches us about all the different aspects of living well, being in balance, being in harmony with yourself, and then being able to transmit that to someone else and to help other people with the different
It's
techniques.
fascinating. It's really fascinating. If
Yeah.
anybody's interested in finding out more, I'll put a link, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
to Elemental Resonance.
That's right.
Your business. We'll
Yes.
put it in the description below. So feel free to reach out and get in touch with Tracie if you are interested. Right, back to the tea.
Great.
Let's see how much time we've got. All right, we're nearly there. So what I'm going to do, obviously you can do this as a pure iced tea, right? And it would be delicious as a pure iced tea. So you'd be taking the tea and you'd be flash chilling it over ice, right? But we're going to try something a little bit different here. I figured these cinnamon, menthol, eucalyptus notes could work very well with mint, and also could work very well with stewed fruits, right? So
Ooh.
things like I'm thinking about those kind of spiced mulled fruits.
Yeah, the red ones.
And the classic for me is plum. So what I did is I went out and I bought some plum jam. And so I'm going to put, and get good plum jam. Don't get some horrible jelly. You know,
Yeah.
this is proper conserve, a really nice one. And the reason why I'm using jam and not using the fresh fruit is simply because the fresh fruit is never going to have, I mean, it will have a subtlety about it. It might be nice, you might taste it, but it's never going to have the same depth to match up with the tea, right? So I like jams. You can use cordials if you want as well.
Yep.
They will work as well. But something again that's not going to be putting too much liquid in. So if you put juice in, it's just going to dilute it
Right.
too much. Okay. So this is now done, right?
So this is like tea pairing with different foods, isn't it? What
Yeah,
suits the tea.
exactly. So a spiced, warming black tea that has these spicy notes to it,
Yep.
I think work well with that mulled stewed fruit
Yeah.
note. So we shall see. This is a bit of an experiment.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I don't have one of those fancy cocktail spoons, and because I'm half Chinese, chopsticks,
Perfect.
the most universally adaptable tool.
Absolutely, you do so much with the chopstick.
So we give that a stir. So now this is hot tea. This was brewed at about 85 degrees, so a bit cooler than what I was brewing here.
Okay.
Again, just to kind of make sure that the bitterness doesn't come out too much. It also means I need to use less ice because it's slightly cooler. So now I'm going to put in some
Handy little
ice.
ice bucket.
Yeah. So I'm going to put in. Do you mind if I use my hands?
No, it's fine.
Promise I washed my hands just before. So a good handful of ice like that.
Great.
So now we're locking in all the flavour, right? We're literally chilling.
That is a good
Now
colour.
this is where I make a mess.
Whoa!
Okay.
Cocktail shaker
No,
extraordinaire.
we're okay. So what you want to do is basically get it so that it gets ice cold and all the ice has gone. So you don't want to put too much ice in. If you put too much ice in, again, it will dilute it too much, okay? Okay, so now, this is where there you go. Okay, so
Techniques.
let's see. Let's see what this tastes like. So now we're going to pour this out through a strainer. Nice colour. Right.
Wow, look at that.
Put that over here. And now I've got a couple of nice cups here. We'll move this out of the way.
Look at
Nice
those.
glasses. Yeah, If we're going to do it in style.
Exactly. Iced tea on an afternoon. Wonderful.
Okay. And then we are going to just get a slice of lemon because I think it needs a bit of citrus. So we'll just, actually, you know what? Maybe not a slice. Maybe we'll try and do just the peel.
Ah.
Because just to give it the fragrance.
It's like a tea cocktail but without the alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you need to get a good peeler, not like mine, but this will just about do the job.
But you don't want any of the white stuff, really, do you?
No. So, okay, so a couple of bits of peel there. Let's get this again. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. I hope it tastes good. Little experiment.
It's amazing.
Okay, I didn't do that very fair. But you're the guest.
We can always swap
You're
it
the
over.
guest. And then we just give it a little spritz of this and drop that in. We'll show the camera quickly
Look at that.
so you can see what that looks like. There you go. So that's a damson and ruby black iced tea, flash chilled.
I put some more in here.
Okay.
Ooh, there we go.
You sprinkle this around so get some zest. So just make sure you squeeze the zest to get all the essential oils out. Drop it in. Cheers.
Cheers.
See what it's like.
Iced tea extravaganza.
How's that?
That is really nice.
You're not just saying that like
No,
those
I'm
chef
not
shows.
saying it. I highly recommend this.
You can
That's
still taste the
great.
tea, right?
You can still taste the tea.
Still got the tea.
The lemon is actually a really nice touch.
That works. That might go onto our cocktail menu at work,
Really
actually.
nice. I'm quite happy about that.
Because the plum, see, if we had used fresh plum, it would have been too acidic,
Yeah.
right? You need the
Yeah.
plum to have that stewed taste.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
pairs it really well with the spiciness of the tea. But it's still refreshing.
You really can still taste the tea that gives it real depth in
Yeah.
there, and everything just complements. And it's like the lemon is just the sprinkling on the top. It's like the cherry on the top of the cake.
The key really to making good iced teas is, again, make sure the tea is strong but you don't overbrew it so it becomes stewed. Make sure you pair it with the right things and make sure you don't over dilute it, otherwise it just gets lost. But that, I think, is going to hit the Camden bar menu, actually. That's a new one.
That is
Damson
good.
Ruby. Okay, well, it's cheers from us.
Cheers.
Summertime in London, the last of it.
Absolutely. And this is the perfect refreshment to go with this glorious weather, isn't it?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
cheers.
Cheers.
Thank
Here's to
you,
more of
Tracy.
these. Thank you, tea heads.
That's it, tea heads. If you made it to the end of this video, then please give the video the thumbs up. Check out our YouTube playlists and let us know if there are any videos that you would like us to make. If you're ever in London, then come visit us in Camden to say hi and taste our wares. If you have any questions or comments, then please fire them over. Other than that, I'm Don. This is Tracy. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from the tea bags. Keep drinking the good stuff and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.